All right, good morning, everyone. Just was dropped off by Pastor Beal at Thru Ministries. Again, I want to thank them, Pastor Beal and his wife and Sister Tina, very much. That was an awesome stay. There was a through hiker that I met previously who was staying there, as I mentioned, and then there was also 4 section hikers. And so this is a group that these guys meet up every year and do maybe, 10 days, something like that. And they've been doing that for a decade. So they're sort of, almost 1,100 miles in. So it was really nice to hear their stories. We all went out to dinner, talking about sort of how they're doing it. And it's, that was good. So beautiful hiking this morning. It's about 60 degrees, perfect weather. Rain is moving in. It's tough to know when. So you just got your whatever normal weather apps that you use on your phone, but those are typically for the towns. But the shelters and stuff tend to be, they can be 1,000, 2,000, even maybe more feet higher. And so the temperature and everything can be a little bit different up there. There is a website called AT Weather. I don't know if it's .com or .org, but they actually have a forecast for each shelter. I don't know really what that's doing. Maybe just some sort of temperature adjustment, because there's no weather stations up there or anything. So but anyway, rain's going to move in between noon and 3, depending on where you look. So I've got a shelter exactly 10 miles. That's the Birch shelter. So I'm going to try to boogie there, sleep in the shelter. Hopefully no one's already set up there, but we'll have to see. And so I may not film a whole lot much today, because we're just trying to make miles before bad weather rolls in. So anyway, keep you posted. All right, everybody, taking a break. There's a 2-mile climb. After we got on that ridge, it was really nice, flat, even gentle downhill, sort of pine straw walking. Now we've hit this sort of climb, but really interested, sort of entered a different vegetation area. I don't know if these are rhododendrons. My plant identification skills are basically zero, but anyway, nice and cool in here at least, but it almost feels like we're walking through a jungle. Talk to you up the trail. All right, everybody, it's 12:38 p.m. We are 8 miles in, 2 miles to go. We've done the last climb, so we're up on the ridge. But once we're on the ridge today, this walking is fantastic. So this is really flat, really soft underfoot. So this is the best stretch of trail that I've seen so far. So we'll see. Wind is picking up, temps are dropping, but we're not too far away. So hopefully we can boogie and make it there. But walking through this forest, this is really nice hiking. See you up the trail. Okay, everyone, we have reached Birch Shelter. Northbound mile marker 1095.2, so that's exactly 10 miles today. We did make it before the rains. Down there you can see the fire pit. Privy is up the hill. Bear cable's right there to hang your food. Here is the shelter itself. Very, very nice. Patio, the picnic table is totally enclosed. I'll go ahead and walk in. It's going to be a little bit dark here, but they have a series of bunks. So I have picked the farthest one away from the door in case the wind and rain till they start blowing. So far the only one here, but this will be a great setup for the night. So somebody might be wondering, why do I stay in my tent when we have shelters like this? I prefer to tent as a general rule for a couple reasons. Number one, there's nothing blocking the elements. So if it's really windy, staying in a shelter can be cold. There's also nothing to block bugs. So the bugs are actually pretty bad, right? No, I don't want to say pretty bad, but I'm going to definitely apply some anti-bug lotion that I have. But then there's also just the proximity to other hikers, right? If somebody is snoring or, tossing and turning on their loud sleeping mat, then shelters can be somewhat loud. There's also sort of the rodent issue. So this one looks very, very clean, but you never know if the rodents sort of come out at night, right? To the extent that people have been eating in these shelters for years and years, right? Mice know where to get a free meal. And so some of these shelters are sort of gross and and rodent infested. This one hopefully doesn't seem to be the case, but we'll have to see. Now, but again, the big pro of the shelter is, of course, you know, when it rains like this, or when it's going to, this is nice because you basically don't have to worry about packing up a wet tent. So I definitely would prefer tenting on a dry day, but on a day like this, shelter will be nice. So as far as videoing, we can do an in-a-day wrap-up video. I probably won't have a standalone video for this day. There wasn't much theme. I didn't have a coherent talking point, I suppose. I was just sort of sprinting to the shelter to try to get here. I was actually worried. It's a Saturday night, and so I was sort of worried that day hikers just kind of want to grab a sleeping bag and a 6-pack of beer and go hang out at the shelter kind of crowd might have been here. Looks like we're farther enough from a road on a rainy night that maybe that crowd was dissuaded, but they could still roll up, but that's fine. I'll have my spot sort of established. I don't have cell signal tonight, so I won't be able to text or call my wife, let her know that I beat the storm. That's kind of unfortunate, but she'll see this video. And so yeah, I don't really have a quote or anything like that, so I'll just sort of combine probably today's video with tomorrow's video. But getting pretty chilly, so I'm gonna go ahead and change out of my sweaty hiking clothes, and we'll do a wrap-up video in a bit. All right, good morning, everyone. Started day 9. I said I was gonna do a wrap-up video for day 8, and I thought I was. So I made it to the shelter before the rain. It looked like a nice clean shelter. So I had set up, I didn't have cell service, so it was basically, I had nothing to do. So I set up my, blew up my sleeping pad and put my sleeping bag down and was just kind of laying there, just waiting to eat dinner or whatever. And I was probably there for, I don't know, two hours almost, maybe almost 3. And then these 3 ladies walked up, and of course they were soaked because it was just absolutely pouring down rain. And they started setting up their tent, and I was like, why in the world are they setting up their tent? And they're like, oh, you're staying in the shelter. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, are you not afraid of the bed bugs? And I thought, the bed what? So anyway, I had neglected to check the comments and far out. Evidently, the Birch Run shelter had bed bugs as late as January of this year, and I'm going to start a climb here. So evidently the PATC tried to spray or do something. So some people were like, well, that's never going to work. Bed bugs can live for a year. And then other people were like, it's late as last week, said they stayed in the shelter and it was fine. So I don't know if I have bed bugs or not. I didn't go back and set up my tent because 9 other people showed up. So there was a total of 12 of us. So 5 of us set up in the shelter. 7 went in the tent. We're setting up tents. Everyone else was wet except for me. So I'm dry, albeit possibly with bed bugs, but everybody else was wet and or wet with bed bugs. So who knows? Pretty cold night. I'm sure it was below 40. I don't think anything froze though. So I'm hiking in sort of long underwear, gloves, fleece, the whole 9 yards. So hopefully, but it's good hiking weather. Trail's a little muddy. I'm gonna head 10 miles or something like 9.8 or something like that into Pine Grove Furnace State Park. There is a hostel there. I'm gonna immediately jump in the shower, do my laundry. Hopefully that drowns and or heats and kills any bed bugs. If any of you have suggestions on how to deal with bed bugs, I don't even know if I have them yet. I'm not itchy or anything, but maybe that'll come. I don't know. I'd be more concerned about like my sleeping bag and my puffy jacket because I can't. Those are down, so I can't put those in a normal washing machine. So anyway, if you have any information on bed bugs, how long does it take to show up if you've been infected? And then how do you deal with them, particularly keep in mind that I'm in a backcountry environment. That would be helpful. So anyway, I will catch up with you up the trail. All right, everyone, I wondered what this sign was doing in the middle of nowhere, but this is actually the halfway marker, albeit for the 2022 trail. Now the trail changes distance each year because they reroute it due to floods or fire damage or putting switchbacks in or whatever. Now, of course, I'll go ahead and keep walking here. That's not the halfway distance marker for me, right? That's only the halfway distance marker if you started in Georgia, right? My personal halfway distance marker will be somewhere in Maine, right? So for flip-floppers, obviously none of the normal sort of mileage markers apply. Now you might think, well, why did I do a flip-flop? All right, so mainly just due to logistical reasons. So I'm a college professor, so I was sort of working around this hike around my teaching schedule. And so this made the best sense from a weather perspective, right? I'm sort of walking with spring to some extent. It also, flip-flop has the advantages of less crowding. So if you're starting in Georgia at this time of year or earlier, you know, there could be 50 hikers leaving Springer Mountain every day, which means you'd have to be, you know, sprinting to campsites, right, to find a campsite or a shelter spot. All the hotels or the hostels are going to be booked. Oh, this is kind of muddy, et cetera, right? And so you can get, those little towns get overwhelmed. And so the ATC actually recommends that you flip-flop if possible. Also, this is just easier terrain. So starting in Maryland and Pennsylvania just has less difficult terrain than you know, Georgia does. So you can sort of get your trail legs to some extent with less wear and tear on your body, which might improve your chances of success. Hopefully it does for me. Now, what are the downsides of flip-flopping? Well, you know, it's just non-linear. You start somewhere, you know, you got to come back to that place, etc. But a lot of people don't like it because you don't get sort of as dramatic of a finish. So if you're a northbounder, right, you're finishing on Katahdin, which is perhaps the most dramatic mountain, or probably is the most dramatic mountain along the entire trail. So it's this very climactic finish, whereas we'll be finishing on Springer Mountain, which is still a climb, right? It's still a terminus, just not as dramatic as Katahdin. But I'm happy with my choice so far. We'll see how we do. Talk to you up the trail. All right, everybody, we have reached Pine Grove Furnace State Park. There is an AT museum here, so let's see if we can check it out. All right, everybody, here we've got a 3D map of the trail. Where do we start? We started here. We are here. How much do we have left to hike? Woof. I won't come too much in here because there are other people, I don't want to disturb them, but I salute Grandma Gatewood. If you haven't read the book, Grandma Gatewood's Walk, it's quite a story. It's windy, but Pine Grove Furnace State Park is also home to what's called the half-gallon challenge here at the general store. So the half-gallon challenge is to celebrate making it halfway. Northbound hikers eat or attempt to eat 1 half-gallon of ice cream within 1 hour, and if they are successful, then they are awarded a wooden spoon as a souvenir. Now, it's closed. It's really out of season here. I'm ahead of the large bubble. Even if it was open, I would not even attempt the challenge. I don't have that level of hiker hunger yet. And if I were to consume a half-gallon of ice cream, I would immediately throw it all up. But coming up on our hotel, this is the Ironmasters Mansion Hostel. So I don't exactly know the history of this building, but I believe all of Pine Grove Furnace is related to the iron and steel industries, right? Big steel and iron furnaces. But it's quite an elaborate building, very large. So I have the private room, $80 a night, well worth it. Built in 1829 according to the caretaker, but I'll show you around inside. So this is my suite, very nice room for $80 a night. They do have bunk rooms for $25. They also will sell you a small pizza for $5 for dinner, and then cook you pancakes for $5 for breakfast, and then laundry's $3. So all in all, I'm really happy to be here. So I'm gonna get laundry going and see if we can find some food. All right, everybody, let's wrap up day 9. We started here 1095.2 Birch Run Shelter. Pretty flat walking all day, made really good time. Got here to 1105 Pine Grove Furnace State Park. We're staying at Ironmasters Mansion. Game plan for the next big town is Duncannon, Pennsylvania at 1149.9, so that's basically 45 miles away. I don't think I'm capable of doing that in 3 days. I've never stacked those big a days, so I'm trying to figure out how to cut this up into 4. So one option is to sort of put in a 15-mile day tomorrow, putting us at Alec Kennedy Shelter. Unreliable water. I mean, I could bring water in, but that'd be a big day for me. But then the next day, we're going to go through Boiling Springs, probably not stay there, although they do have like a little restaurant and an outfitter I could kind of, resupply if I needed it, although I've got plenty of food. But then it's really, really flat, so the next night I could stay at 1132.3 Carlisle. Then the next day would be putting us at 1145.9 Cove Mountain Shelter. And then that would be a really short next day into Duncannon. That's one way to do it. There are other ways to sort of slice this up, but that's the way I'm leaning towards now. So I'm still in my rain gear, still have clothes in the dryer, still need to eat dinner, but I did try to, wash all my clothes really well. I tried to wipe down my sleeping bag and my down puffy. I have not noticed any evidence of bed bugs, so hopefully that was, that shelter was clean. But I'll let you know if any of that pops up. But yeah, so hopefully I can get to bed early tonight in this big comfy bed, and then get a real early start tomorrow. It is going to be cold, like we're talking lows of 36 or so. I have a 32-degree bag, so that probably means that I'm going to be wearing, everything that I have inside my sleeping bag. But the upside of that is that it's really cool hiking weather, which I have found I do a lot better in. So anyway, it's been a kind of a crazy couple days. It's nice to be in a temperature-controlled environment here. I'm going to try to rest up, and we'll push on to Duncannon. See you on the next video.
If you enjoyed this video, I would ask 2 things. First, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those actions help us grow the community so that we can put more good out into the world. Second, when I'm not out on an adventure, I am a college professor. A college education can be transformative, but college is an expensive proposition. However, I think we can help, so I'm asking you to please donate to support scholarships for students at the Sam M. Walton College of Business at the University of Arkansas. There are 2 ways you can navigate to the donation page. First, you can scan the QR code that you see on the screen. Please have cookies enabled in your browser. The second method is to navigate to the URL that you see on the screen or in the description to this video. When you arrive at that page, what should you see? Well, you will be on the online giving website for the University of Arkansas. You should notice that the designation and the other department, program, or fund fields are automatically populated. That's going to tell the fundraising personnel to automatically associate any funds raised with our effort here on this channel. All you have to do is enter an amount and your personal information. I will keep you up to date with our fundraising progress as we move through the adventure. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you on the next video.